So what I've done for you is I've actually used this template so that's going to help your child focus their revision. And I've actually created a lesson for you, like I often do with my one-to-one accelerator students. And so your child can actually do this lesson, and then but I'm also going to walk you through how you can, or how your child can use this template in order to help them continue to make progress. So the first thing that you always start off by doing is thinking about the one thing that you're struggling with. And so you mentioned that your child is struggling with their listening. So I picked an even smaller problem, because that's more of a situation, struggling with your listening. But what are you specifically struggling with? So I'm struggling to understand audios in Spanish and answer questions. And so the whole session is therefore now focused on this. And so then you create a goal of that particular session. So what would you like to be able to know or show by the end of the session? So by the end of the session, I would like to be able to write notes in English about, maybe in a second, in English, about holidays. And so I've just chosen a topic that typically students will have studied by the end of year 9, and holidays being one of them, but it could just be absolutely anything else. And so then you identify all of the resources that you're going to need to be able to do this. So for example, with the listening, you're going to need an audio, there's a grid in here as well, a transcript, word reference as well, and I'll show you why and how all of these things are going to be used. These are a couple of bits of vocab, and then this learning vocabulary with all your senses. You're going to need all of that in order to be able to do this study session. Now, oftentimes I will kind of write a list of things that I think the student's going to need. Or students will then write a list of things that they think they're going to need. And then once they plan this section, they then might change them. And I did the exact same thing. So, and all of these have links so that your child can actually do this. So we think, well, what tasks are going to help your child make progress? And so what I've done is I've gone through our study, my study cycle that we use, which is Unlock, which is all about thinking about what do you already know about this particular topic, and what can you already do, because then by the end of this you're going to be able to see progress. Then is Upgrade. Okay, so then how are we filling those gaps? So, and then the next thing that you want to do is Apply. So apply what you know. And we've got 2 bits of apply actually. Okay. And then the final task is what we call assess. So this is so that you can see, you'll do the first task again to see the progress. So let me just walk you through this whole entire study cycle. So the first thing that your child will then do is they will listen to the audio that's here and fill in this grid. It says attempt 1 in there. What you will have to do is you'll have to make, in order to be able, you can print these off straight, or you can make a copy of them so that you can edit them. And then the next thing to do is you are going to listen to the audio with the transcript to follow along, so that you're able to identify what those sounds what the sound of the words are and what they look like as well, because that's going to be really helpful when it comes to your listening skills. Then what you're going to do is then annotate the words that you know and look up any words that you don't know. So it's great if you've printed off this transcript, and then you can highlight and circle and write all the words that you know, maybe in one color, and then write down any words that you don't know. So you're going to look them up. So the vocabulary for where this audio comes from is in this vocab 1 and vocab 2. But if there's any other vocabulary in there that your child doesn't know yet, then they can head to wordreference.com, type in the word. You can't type in phrases, but you can type in the word in Spanish, and then it will tell you what the English is. And then you want to write a list of all of the words that your child had to look up, and complete this learning vocabulary with all of your senses. So if I just open that preview, so all you do is you do what is the look, cover, say, write. So you're going to write all of the words down here. Then you're going to look at the word, you're going to cover it, you're going to say it, and then you're going to write it in here, then translate it into English, and then try and use it in a sentence. So this is building connections, helping your child build connections with these words outside of this topic, so that your child can then recognize them more easily. So this is just practicing with this vocabulary. Then your child is then going to listen to the audio again and fill in the grid. So without the transcript, so having no support at all, without the transcript there, they're going to then fill in the grid, and then they can use the transcript, which they have basically will have translated into English, to then mark to see what they've gotten. So what that should do is you should see progress from here and here. And then the final thing that's really important is that your child just to write a quick statement, because I like to, and my students like to actually keep these so that they can see their progress over time. But it also informs what their next study session is going to be. And so you write, okay, I can now do hopefully the goal of this session, and then in order to be ready for either my next exams or whatever is coming next, you need to be able to do X, Y, and Z. So whatever your child writes in here is what their specific problem and the goal of the session is for their next study session.